What's up guys, my name is Wakar, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you guys a deck profile. Today in my local tournament we had a pretty decent turnout. We had 16 people show up and I ended up getting first playing red RagnaLoardmon. Now RagnaLoardmon is a deck that I've had my eye on for a very long time now. I ended up initially playing the black variant of it and I just didn't seem like my playstyle. I did not do well with that at all. I was playing in 1.0, at one point I was playing War Greymon Red, and so I actually ended up getting 7th place for the core TCG tournament towards the end of 1.0. Was the last tournament they had with a red War Greymon deck profile, and that was really fun. That was really geared towards my play style, and so I tried recreating that deck for 1.5, and it just was not working out. So RagnaLoardmon actually does something very similar to that play style, where you make swings for a lot of security checks, and then you game your opponent. So I decided to throw this together like 15 minutes before my local started and ended up going undefeated. And so that's pretty good, I think, for a deck that I wasn't expecting to do well at all. I was actually considering playing green because I thought I would do better with that. It's because I had tested that before and not tested this deck at all. So all things considered, I was really satisfied with the outcome of this. So I wanted to make this deck profile for you guys just to help you guys get an understanding of how I play this deck, because it is a little bit different, I think, from some of the other RagnaLoardmon deck profiles that I've seen out there. So anyways, let's just hop right in. I'm going to start off with the obvious. I'm playing RagnaLoardmon. It's the main win condition of the deck. It is the only win condition of the deck, I guess. I'm playing 4, not 3. So in the black variant, I was playing 3 and then 1 Ultra S. I have seen some people play red with 3 and then 1 regular Omnimon and 1 Ultra S. I don't think that goes with the theme of the deck that I'm running. And like I said, mine is slightly different. And so my whole theme is, again, build up into Ragna, make a big swing, and then follow up with another play, another attack to game your opponent. And so Omnimon doesn't help with that. This is like a glass cannon deck. You just build up and then destroy your opponent. So I think 4 Ragna is the way to go. If I had additional room in this deck, maybe I'd play an Omni or an Ultra S, just one of, but I don't have enough room at all whatsoever. So that is all for the level 7s. Moving on, let's start off with the eggs and then move on up. I'm playing 4 Koromon and 1 Gigimon. I've seen a lot of red RagnaLoardmon players play Koromon instead of the Gigimon. And the reason Koromon I think is better is because it just requires you to have 4 or more Digivolution cards. And so, I mean, your Ragna is definitely going to have more than that, because if you resolve his effect that's already a level 2, just Koromon itself, level 3, 4, 5, 6, another 6. So that's 6 sources, right? So that's pretty good. Koromon is better in this, especially because you're going to be building up your Ragna in the raising area most of the time and then bringing him out and swinging. And if you're not swinging, your opponent's not going to have anything in trash for Gigimon to activate. I actually played a mirror match against a red RagnaLoardmon deck as well, and he was running the Gigimon, and he had Gigimon, but I only had 4 cards in trash, and I had blocker on my RagnaLoardmon. He didn't have any other boosts. He didn't have an Agumon or anything underneath there. And he only had the Gigimon. So the best he could do is just crash with my RagnaLoardmon, because I would block it. So the Gigimon, you could argue that Yokomon might be better, but I think it's fine. Like, it's just one of. The Koromon is definitely, I think, the better pick in terms of Digi-Eggs. All right, moving on to the rookies. I'm playing 4 Agumon. I should have 4. 4 Agumon, pretty standard, I think, for red. Probably one of the best red rookies right now. Just a blanket inheritable effect where during your turn it gets 1,000, no conditions or anything like that. That's really good for RagnaLoardmon. 1, against the mirror, and 2, because against Omnimon red, you want to be able to swing over their 15k. Ragna is 14, so this gives you 15 itself, but if you have Koromon underneath there, that puts you at 16, so you feel safer swinging in your security. So Agumon is really important for this deck. Definitely would not cut this at all whatsoever. Run 4. Next, I'm running 4 Zubamon, and the reason I'm running 4 is just because, well, it helps you dig for your pieces, right? It helps you dig for your Legend Arms, it helps you dig for your RagnaLoardmon. And don't be afraid, like, to Digivolve this in your raising area, just because, like, if you have another rookies, there's 2 things that can happen, right? Either you're guaranteed to get 1 draw, or you can play him and then whiff and not see anything. So it's really like a call you have to make depending on what you've seen already and what you can build up to. But yeah, a lot of times I just Digivolve this in my raising area, or held on to it and played it when I wanted to choke my opponent's memory, just to like dig for pieces that I could use later and didn't necessarily need, or start building up a second Ragna stack. I don't actually run a whole lot of legend arms in here, which you'll see in a second. But I think 4 is still a good number. Sometimes he's just a rookie. Sometimes that's his only purpose. All right, next I am playing 2 Biyomon. This is the new one that came out of 1.5, where if it's deleted during your turn, you gain a memory. I was kind of hesitant to play this card. I wasn't like too sure about it because I had a lot of people play this against me and like they swing and they hit an option card. But this actually ended up being pretty good, I think. Like especially if I have a card in hand and I want to choke up my opponent's memory, if I don't have Tai on the board, and they don't have a memory tamer, I can swing with this and then like potentially play a vanilla if they're like putting me to 1. Or like play another 3 cost or something like that and then choke them back. So yeah, I think 2 is a good number though. I wouldn't run anymore. Again, a lot of times I end up just digivolving this in the raising area and then digivolving over it, which is fine. It just gives you a bit more utility and a bit more options if you can play it on the board and then use it later. And then I'm running 4 vanillas, 4 Monodramon, 4 Biyomon. This can be any combination of these. I think these are pretty good, especially because if you're digivolving to RagnaLoardmon, again, if you have your memory tamer and you're able to start off with 3, you can digivolve into your Mega for 3, putting you at 0, and then you digivolve into RagnaLoardmon for potentially free, and then you can play vanilla, putting your opponent to 2. That's a pretty good play, I think. The other time this actually comes up is that you actually need some kind of, because RagnaLoardmon, well, you can give him potentially security attack +4 with piercing, and reboot. So he swings through your opponent's entire security stack, but you need 1 additional attack to close out the game if your opponent doesn't have a blocker. So having vanillas is really nice, is because you can build up your board knowing that you're about to bring out RagnaLoardmon and clear out their security. So I think 4 is a good number. I don't know if I would cut it down anymore, just because like Zubamon is like it's not like super essential, but it does help definitely for sure unbreak your hands when you do have breaking hands, and sometimes you can like net you +2 if you get a Ragna and a Legends Arm, so that's pretty good. So that's all for the rookies. I play a total of 14, which I think is a solid number for any RagnaLoardmon deck or even any like Red Omni deck. So definitely would keep those at that number. Next, I'm playing for Greymon. I'm playing for Greymon instead of I've seen a lot of red Ragnas play Zuba Greymon. I don't like Zuba Greymon actually. He is only a 4 hard drop, which is better than Greymon. But like, if you're already in that position where you're having to hard play, you're probably not in a great place anyways. And it's probably gonna pass turn. That's the other thing. It's probably gonna pass turn anyways. So the Greymon enables you to swing with your Megas if you can't get your RagnaLoardmon. So it enables a little bit of pressure there, which is why I like it so much. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it. I don't. The other benefit Zuba Greymon has is that it has more synergy with your Zubamon, right? Because you can dig with it, you could dig for it with your Zuba Greymon. But again, like I'm really trying to turbo into RagnaLoardmon, and if I can't get it go up into him, I think like Phoenixmon or like my 12 and all my Megas are 12k. I think they're a good place to like stay, and if I need a swing, I can start chipping away at security. That can be like an alternate win condition. So that's why I like 4 of these, because the Zuba Greymon does only work with RagnaLoardmon. Anyways, next I have 4 DarkTyrannomon. Same thing, going along, red Omni decks, you want cheap evolution costs. He has 6k body, which is pretty good. Honestly, probably won't be swinging with him as much as I swing with him in like red Omni, because I want to build up into Ragna. But there are times where you have extra rookies on the board and you can digivolve into them and start swinging if you need to. But do keep in mind, like this deck, like sometimes swinging too much isn't like great. Like, because if you know that you can climb up to RagnaLoardmon in your raising area, he'll clear out like 3-4 security, then you don't need to swing with like multiple times, because because Ragna will do that for you. He'll just take care of the security stack, and then you really only need 1 Digimon to close out the game after that, assuming they have no other blockers. So DarkTyrannomon is good mostly for the Digivolution cost. You can swing with him, but a lot of times you just won't be swinging with him, as opposed to some other red decks. Then I'm playing 3 Coredramon. I'm only running 3 because I need a room in this deck, and I've seen a lot of red Omni decks cut their level 4 lineup to 11 instead of 12. And so I've seen a lot of people cut the Greymon, but the Greymon does go really hand in hand with the win condition of this deck, which is build up a big RagnaLoardmon. So I opted to cut the Coredramon, which I think that was a pretty good decision. I wouldn't replace these with Zuba Gigimons, honestly, just because blockers are important, right? Especially if you run into Rookie Rush, which I didn't today, but these did save me games. There was a game where I was able to build up into Ragna and I dropped this. just because I knew they couldn't game me, and then next turn I followed up. I cleared out whatever they had left with Ragna, and then swung for game with something else. Or I think Ragna just swung again for game, and they weren't able to game me just because I had Coredramon to block their attack. So again, 11 here for the level 4s, and I think that's a pretty good number. Moving on to the level 5s. This is where things kind of diverge a bit from other decks you might see. If they haven't already, I played 3 Groundramon, 3 Duramon, and then 2 Lavogaritamon. Now, Red Omni, you'll often see them play more of the Lavogaritamon, less of the Groundramon, or maybe just cut the Groundramon altogether. I don't know. I don't like that because Lavogaritamon is 7-drop, and that really hurts. Like, if you're already behind, giving your opponent 7 is a lot. And a lot of times, like, I'm not going to be swinging with him, so, like, why... And I'm not going to be swinging with him, so what's the difference? Like, I want to be swinging with him or my Megas. So Lavogaritamon is nice that he's a bigger body, but I think Groundramon is the better option here, just because he's able to... Yeah, just because you're able to drop him for 5. Pretty much that's pretty much the only reason I prefer him over the Lavogaritamon. But I did want a wider spread of the two Digivolution costs, which is why I am running a total of 5 and not like 4 or something. I could theoretically cut this and make this another Groundramon, but I don't like odd numbers. Like, you'll see this is 3 and 3, so that's fine. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, that's it for those guys. And I played 3 Duramon because Duramon does help with the win condition of this deck. He gives your RagnaLoardmon an additional security attack +1. And he is searchable off of Zubamon. That's the other thing. So I could also like cut. I don't want to cut one of these guys for another Groundramon, another Lavogaritamon, just because it kind of does hurt the consistency a bit. There are times where I had to search for like a level 5 with the Zubamon, and I was able to get the Duramon and then Digivolve up and then swing. There are actually like a good number of Megas in this deck, just because RagnaLoardmon's effect requires you to have like in able to resolve his effect, you need a BryweLudramon or a Durandamon in hand. So digging for the level 6s is important, but you also want to dig for the level 5s. Level 4s, obviously, sure, you want to dig for them as well, but your level 5s are low drops, so right? So he's just a 6-drop, and he's a 5-drop, which is why I like this. You could potentially build up into your RagnaLoardmon from here as well. The Tai won't work with it, which we'll see later, but still, you can still have a RagnaLoardmon with, potentially if you drop him, that's 1-2 security attacks, right? Plus piercing, if you're able to get Duramon underneath them. So that's pretty good. So I think this is pretty solid. Count 8, I think, is a good number, and I wouldn't change that, honestly. Next are the level 6s. I'm playing 3 Phoenixmon. I'm playing this because, again, I'm playing this sort of like Red Omni, where I want to rush to my RagnaLoardmon. And so, sure, my RagnaLoardmon won't have like all the keywords on it necessarily, but a lot of times, like, it doesn't matter because I'm trying to close out the game anyways. And so I'm playing 3 copies of the Durandamon and 2 copies of the BryweLudramon. Now, the reason I play it this way is because, one, the whole point of this deck, again, is to swing hard and close out games quickly. Blockers prevent you from doing that, so Durandamon is important. But having blockers is also good, having your RagnaLoardmon, especially like earlier in the game. So that's why I run the BryweLudramon, just so you can have a big blocker to prevent your opponent from swinging their bigger Digimon into your security and potentially getting ahead there. But yeah, so what I want to do though is I want to turbo into the RagnaLoardmon and potentially get piercing underneath there. If I can get him, that's fine. Even if I don't get piercing, at least like I can take care of their blocker and then next turn start swinging away with their security. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think I like this ratio. Phoenixmon, unfortunately, I didn't see Phoenixmon as much as I wanted to. I would run 4 if I had room, but I don't. I know a lot of people run Blitz Greymon. Blitz Greymon does not go with the theme with this deck, I don't think. Because I want to close out games quickly. I don't want to prolong it any longer than I have to. I'd rather Digivolve into this and then go into Ragna the same turn, attack, and if I have another rookie, if I have like any other Digimon on the field, potentially close out the game. I don't want to de-Digivolve them, wait a turn, and then swing, and then potentially close out the game. Even though Blitz Greymon is a really good card, he's a really powerful card, I think this works better in theme there. This did come up once. A lot of times it's just really annoying. I would Digivolve like into Durandamon or BryweLudramon with the Ragna in hand, and I draw into a Phoenixmon. I'd be like, that's the wrong order. Anyways, I think 3 Phoenixmon is good. 4 again, I would go into, but I wouldn't cut these guys for additional Phoenixmon, just because they help resolve Ragna's effect, and they are searchable by Zubamon. So yeah, I think this ratio is pretty good. If anything, I would maybe cut a Phoenixmon for one of these guys. I'm not sure. I don't know about that actually. And then the other reason Durandamon I prefer over BryweLudramon is because I was afraid of playing against Red Omnimon. Last time I played in my locals, I lost in the finals to someone who was playing Red Omni, or some variant of a red deck, and I ended up playing them again today. So I was worried about them dropping Skull Greymon on RagnaLoardmon after I invested so much in it, and then getting rid of it because I have BryweLudramon underneath there, and that actually happened twice. I still won those matches, but it definitely really does hurt. And I was kind of afraid of Red Ragna Red Omni to be honest, which is why I went with this ratio. But honestly, I think this ratio is pretty good too, just even if you're not worried about Red Omni. But yeah, that is all for the Digimon. So this is a total of 8. Yeah, total of 8 level 6s, which is the exact amount of level 5s that I have, which is why I said like, yeah, level 6s are there's a good abundance of them in this deck. Anyways, next up I have 2 Tais. So Tai is a memory fixer. The reason he's really important in this deck, I know like a lot of Red Omni decks have cut this, but he's really important in this deck because having 3 memory enables you to do so much. And yeah, I know a lot of people say this is sort of like the memory tamers are a trap because they just force your opponent to play more aggressively. But what they don't realize is like, a lot of decks need a certain amount of memory to do things. Like, so you're talking about Imperial Dramon decks, right? Like, Blue Imperial needs 3 memory to do stuff. So, like, and by do stuff, I mean you could Digivolve into, your level 5s or your level 6s, and then attack, and then close out the game. So, similar with this deck, 3 enables you to do a lot. You can Digivolve into any of these guys if you have a level 5 on the board already. Stay at 0, and then potentially Digivolve into RagnaLoardmon, and then if you have another one of these guys in hand, resolve Ragna's effect and still stay at 0. If you had 2, you wouldn't be able to do that unless you had Phoenixmon. Phoenixmon would be the only way you'd be able to do that. And if you had 1, there's no way you can Digivolve from a level 5 into Ragna the same turn and then do a lot of damage. The other thing is Tai's effect is during your turn, all your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution sources gain security attack +1. Ragna is red, and getting 4 underneath him is not difficult because if you resolve his effect, you're going to have 2 Megas underneath him. That's 2 already, and then all you need is your level 5 and your level 4. So even if you're hard playing a Greymon, or even if you're Digivolving over a hard played Greymon, you're still going to be able to resolve Tai, and that'll give Ragna an additional security attack. So Ragna himself has a security attack. Tai will give him 1, that's 2. If you have Dura, that's 3. If you have Greymon, that's 4, plus an actual check. So if you have Tai, Duramon, and Greymon underneath there, that clears out your opponent's entire security stack in 1 turn. If you have Durandamon, it doesn't matter if they have the blocker, your opponent's security is gone. They're not going to block it. Like, that's pointless for them to block at that point. So yeah, Tai enables this deck to do a lot. I would not cut it. I think 2 is a good number. I would do 3 if there was room, but there's not room. Next, I'm playing 2 Gaia Force. Gaia Force is a good card. There's not much to say about it here. Yeah, a lot of people have been forced to cut this in 1.5 just because, even in Red Omni, just because there's not enough room in the deck. With Digimon, you have to have 50 cards exactly. I would play 3 if I could. 4 might be a bit too much. I found that like playing 4 in 1.0, sometimes it clogged my hand. This is really nice to see in security. It's not bad to see in your hand. There are games where I saw this in hand, and it definitely did help a lot. I was able to clear out big threats and then continue building my Ragna in my raising area and then bring him out and then attack for game. Before they were able to game me, I think it came up definitely in my red Omni matchup where they had the giant Phoenixmon with security attack, which was pretty threatening. So I just cleared it out and then continued building up my Ragna. But yeah, I think Gaia Force is a good card. I wouldn't run. If you could find room for a 3rd one, I'd run a 3rd one. I think 4 might be too many. Last, if you guys have seen my deck profile from my top 16 Core TCG with a Red War Greymon, I played 3 Gravity Crush. I wanted to play more. I want to play 2 of these, but there's no room in this deck. And so what Gravity Crush does is that it enables you to turbo out RagnaLoardmon even quicker. So say you have, if you're with 1 memory and you have 2 Megas in hand, right? You don't have Tai. If you have 2 Megas in hand, it enables you to just like play this, go into the Mega, go into Ragna, activate Ragna's effect, and still be your turn, and then Ragna can do stuff. Or if you have, if you do have Tai, you're able to digivolve into, you're able to digivolve into Duramon and then a Phoenixmon the same turn, and then Ragna. So it enables some things like that. It did come up once, and it helped me get Ragna the same turn, and then do a lot of damage. I don't think I closed out the game, but it definitely helped a lot. I think like I pierced through one of their Digimon too, or something like that. But all the other times I drew into this, I was already in a winning position, and it would seem like a win more card at that point. Like the most I could do is the other kind of good combo with this is like, say you have, you're at 1, you can activate and play two rookies, 2 vanillas, and that'll put your opponent at 3. So if they have a memory tamer, that's even better because you're getting free value out of this potentially because they'd go to 3 anyways. Whereas you could only play 1, right? And then they'd go to 3. But instead, if you play Gravity Crush, you're at 3 now. You play this, you're at 1 now. You play this, they're at 1. You pay back Gravity Crush to go to 3. Their tamer doesn't get them anything. So that's a fun little cute combo there. I would play more of this if I had room, but again, I don't. I think again, I'm gonna say this again. I've said this before. I think this is a slept on card. I think there's some potential here that a lot of people aren't seeing. I'm trying to find like the best use of this card. I think this is a deck which can utilize it, but again, I haven't seen it enough to know how good it actually is. Anyways, that's all for my deck profile. First round, I played against Purple. Purple, one thing to watch out for is that because RagnaLoardmon has Reboot, they can Trump Sword you. So I actually got lucky in my match because they already played Trump Sword. I think I might have hit insecurity or something, but my Ragna was suspended because I just swung. I made a big swing with Ragna, so they got rid of my other guy. And then they were able to climb up into Lilithmon, but they didn't have enough within trash to recover their Trump Sword. Because this has Reboot, this will always be unsuspended on your opponent's turn. So if you've invested a lot into this and you can't swing for a game or make a big swing that turn, be very careful about Trump Sword. But otherwise, like that matchup wasn't that bad, I don't think. Yeah, you just have to make sure they don't chip away at your memory too quickly. Blockers definitely help, or chip away at your security. Blockers definitely help for that. Second round, I played against the Mirror Red Ragna. Like I said, the Gigimon I think is not the correct Digitama to play here. The Digi-Egg, I think Koromon is better. There was the game where we both had Ragna on the board. He only had Gigimon underneath there, no other boost, so he couldn't swing over my RagnaLoardmon and game me, whereas I could. Because my Ragna did have blocker, and I only had 4 in trash. So Gigimon is not great for this deck because you want to play conservatively until you get out your RagnaLoardmon and just push your game. Yeah, so that was my second round. Third, I played against the Red Omni, or Red deck. I'm not sure if they had Omnimon or not. They weren't ever able to climb up that high. But yeah, that game, they dropped a lot of Skull Greymon. I was able to respond to those. Like there was enough memory for me to climb back up, but the Skull Greymon definitely hurt. So that's why like the BryweLudramon underneath the Ragna, it can be very careful about going in your Ragna. If you can't close out the game, be very careful about leaving Ragna on the board. A lot of times what I found was I ended up doing double Duranda underneath the Ragna. It doesn't feel great, but like especially against like Red, if you're playing against Red, like that's your better option. Either that or you have Phoenixmon and Duranda. That's fine. Like Phoenixmon and Duranda is probably the better option. But if you have 2 Duranda in hand, you can still go for it. Like that's fine. Yeah, other matchups I ended up doing that as well, just because I didn't see the BryweLudramon. Doesn't feel as great, but yeah, I mean it is what it is. Like it's a free RagnaLoardmon, you can't really complain. And then if you're doing that already, it means you're already about to make like a big swing. And so like your opponent probably won't have many turns after that. And hopefully you're not like close to losing all your security at that point. So hopefully, since you are playing a turbo deck, hopefully you can recover from there and not need the blocker. In the last match I played against Megazoo. Yeah, I played against Megazoo. First game he just bricked. Like there was nothing he could do. I think like 3 turns in a row he just passed. So that was unfortunate for him. Yeah, I just got that win. Really, it was a cheap win. Second game, yeah, he was also playing BryweLudramon with Millenniummon and Ragna. I don't think he ever went into Ragna, but I was able to climb up into Ragna, and then eventually, like, he was able to deal with my RagnaLoardmon. I think, like, I don't remember if I wanted to RagnaLoardmon that match or not. The second game, but he definitely he did something where he went into Millenniumon and returned something to the bottom of my deck. At that point, I just went wide and then yeah, and closed out the game there. But yeah, it was a pretty fun turnout. 16 people, pretty fun matches, great turnout. Yeah, I think this is a fun deck to play. I think I'm probably gonna keep playing it for the near future. See what adjustments I can make. Maybe I want to try more Gravity Crush to see if I can make room there. But yeah, that's all I had for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like these, be sure to subscribe. I don't want to like give you guys content of decks that aren't like vetted. So if I get like tournament wins, I definitely make deck profiles of that. But if you guys don't care, like, and just want to see like decks that I'm playing around with, decks that aren't necessarily good, let me in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to make them. Like there are a lot of decks I'm thinking about which they won't win you tournaments, but it'll be fun decks to play, and they'll be fun in theory, I guess. But yeah, do let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys next time.